Hey guys, how's it going? So, I want to tell the story of how I came up with the idea for my latest app, which is not what you're looking at actually. It's an app I haven't quite built yet. Um, and yeah, I just want to talk about how I came up with the idea. And that's where this app comes in that you're looking at, which is called Focal Point. And I actually built this app a number of months ago. And it's basically a goal setting and productivity app. I'm not going to get into it completely, but the takeaway here is that it's kind of complicated. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's not very easy to communicate what it is. Um, there's a habit tracker, a journal, there's a browser extension, there's a timer, reminders, a brainstorm tool, and so forth. And I think that was kind of one of the reasons why it was not as successful as I wanted. So one thing I resolved to do in my apps going forward is to make them a lot more easy to understand, a lot more easy to communicate. People do use this. People are buying, are paying for it monthly and yearly, and I use it every day as well as some of my friends. But I want to make something simpler, something a lot easier to understand. And I love self-development. I love goal setting and whatnot. So that's part of the reason why I love Beeminder and Stick, which have a pretty simple premise. Basically, you put your money where your mouth is, and you appoint some friends to basically act as your accountability buddies for your goals. So if you're trying to lose weight, you basically say, okay, this is my weight loss goal, and these are the friends that are going to basically be informed of my goal and help um, keep me accountable and also act as my referees. So the money I put on the line will be basically, they will determine whether it goes to the anti-charity I've set up. If you want to incentivize yourself based on the fact that otherwise you would send money to a charity you don't want to support, or maybe that money goes to your friend, depending on the service and depending on what you choose, because the stakes are actually optional in Stick. You don't have to put any money where your mouth is. But anyway, the general premise is pretty easy with these. Set a goal, appoint people to keep you accountable, and maybe add money to it. I like that. And actually, with Focal Point, after you sign up and it helps you pick your most important 1 year goal to focus on, well, after that step, there's also a step to tell your friends. And people were using that. And something that made that feature in Focal Point a little bit different than Beeminder and Stick is that, aside from the lack of the monetary accountability feature, um, it also came with the promise of emailing those people on the due date of the goal. So if you promise to lose 20 pounds by March 15th or whatever, on March 15th, guess what? Those people you enter, they're going to get an email saying, okay, back in January or whatever, Tom said he was going to lose 20 pounds. Did he? So, a little extra kind of kick in the butt. And people seem to enjoy that, and people were using that feature. It also did tell them right away, kind of like the other ones. Anyway, so I was thinking about Stick, I was thinking about Beeminder, and then I started reading some books by Derek Sivers, or just one book, and listening to his podcast and so forth, and his blog. And I came across this TED Talk. And it was kind of interesting because he was basically saying that when you set a goal, you actually don't want to tell anyone. And that pretty much flew in the face of what I'd read before, of basically Stick and Beeminder, because they basically, both of those services, they tell your accountability buddies right away what your goal is. Well, Derek was saying that there's actually a fair amount of science backing up the fact that people who talk about their goals are less likely to achieve them. And the theory is that when you share your goals and when other people acknowledge your goals, it creates a social reality in your mind, and it kind of feels like you've sort of already achieved your goal. And that nice feeling you get by sharing your goal, by talking about it before you've actually done a single thing, makes you less likely to achieve it because it saps your motivation. You already basically got some of the dopamine that you normally get from achieving your goal. So keep your goals to yourself. That's Derek's message and the message of various researchers. So interesting. What sort of app can be built around this idea? Well, that's where Burn the Boats comes in. That's the name I've chosen for my new app. So Burn the Boats is going to be similar to Stick and Beeminder. It's going to be very simple. You basically um, pick a goal, you pick a commitment, whether that's weight loss or anything. I'm not going to have a drop down like this. I'm basically going to have a thing where people can type it in, whatever their goal is. So you create your commitment contract, and then you appoint some friends, just like Stick and BeMiner, to keep you accountable. And then you set a goal date, of course. And then here's where it's different. Instead of emailing them right away, you're actually setting a private commitment. So you're quietly pre-committing to your goal, taking advantage of Derek Sivers' thing here. And then what happens is that on your due date of your goal, so on March 20th, that deadline that you set for yourself, that's when we email your friends saying, back in January or whatever, or June, Tom said that he was going to lose 20 pounds. Did he do it? And that's the only email they're ever going to get. And so Burn the Boats is going to encourage you to keep your goal to yourself and to just use that, the promise of your friends receiving an email with your commitment statement that's going to start with something like, on my honor, I commit to losing 20 pounds by whatever. So you're going to be driven by that certainty that they're going to receive that email. So you're pre-committing yourself. You're burning your boats, because after you submit the form on Burn the Boats, it's going to be irrevocable. You are, your friends are going to be hitting you up on your due date, asking you if you achieved it. So that's the idea. Oh, and there is one catch. And this is how the revenue model comes in, because I like to build actual things with potential to make money, not just clever apps. So the idea is that it's an irrevocable email, right? But there is actually one way that you can revoke it, that you can prevent that email from being sent with your, embarrassing message if you didn't lose any weight at all or whatever it is. And that is to pay a cancellation fee. Now, it's not a $9.99 fee or even a $100 fee. What it is you set your own cancellation fee when you write your commitment contract. So it's kind of a game theoretical problem, right? Because you don't want to set a cancellation fee of $10, because once you break your diet, you're going to say, okay, you know what? I don't want to have this email sent. I'm just going to pay the $10 and spare my embarrassment. So you don't want to do that. It's going to be too easy, right? To have an easy out like that when the going gets tough, which it surely will. So if you truly want to burn your boats, you can still totally do that. All you have to do is set your bailout price, your cancellation fee, to $1 million, right? Because you're never going to pay it. You'll just live with the consequences of, either accomplish your goal and look like a hero, or else fail at your goal and be embarrassed. So there's no way you can back out of that, because obviously you're not going to pay. You're not going to put in $1 million charge to your credit card on the website. So that's the idea. The next videos are going to be about wireframing the idea and building it and then launching it, and then a retrospective. So I hope you join me in this adventure. And again, I like to push these out every 1 to 2 weeks, apps like this. Depending on my regular workload, of course, I do client work, and also, I do other things as well. And also it depends on the success of the product after launch. But I like to launch MVPs and see what happens. Very exciting for me. This is what I love to do. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're into this kind of thing and you want to follow along. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.